Hey guys, it's Nicole and I'm finally back with a process video. This is for Butterflyreflectionsink, which is a new design team that I'm on. It's Vanessa's store and you can find it. I'll put the links down below. But all of the products that I'm showing here are what came in my design team package that I'm using on this layout. You'll see that stamp set and the other three embellishments being used. And then this is some stuff I pulled from my own stash to use that I know that she carries in store. Some of it made it on my layout and some of it didn't, but I'll share with you along the way how I used everything. So I printed two photos of Reagan and I taking selfies, and I know I wanted to use that. Every picture tells a little story from Jelly Bean Soup as my title. And my initial plan was to put it on my layout with temporary adhesive and then pick a few Mr. Huey's to spray over it, and then I was going to peel that up and kind of use it as a mask. Here I'm referencing a few colors that I sprayed before I started filming. So you'll see during this that I do the spraying and I pull the mask off, and I'm not crazy about how it turned out, so I sort of change plans halfway through, but I'll fill you in on that as I get there. Excuse me if my voice sounds a little bit scratchy. I'm getting over being sick. So it's a little difficult for me to do this voiceover right now, but I wanted to make sure that this process video was posted on my YouTube channel by hopefully the middle of the week. So I zoomed in a little and I'm showing you what it looked like when I peeled it off, and even though it turned out okay and it's very readable, as the actual die cut dried on the side, I ended up liking that better. So I think I actually put this aside and start working on an embellishment that I was going to make using that new Avery L set, and then I come back to my title and decide what to do. This piece of paper here is from one of the Dear Lizzie collections, I think it's Polka Dot Party, and she has the 6x6 pad of this paper in the store. I needed the 12x12 piece for this particular project because I knew I wanted to put a strip at the top and bottom of my layout. However, you can get the 6x6 pad in Vanessa's store. So here I just use some ink to stamp it onto the rainbow paper, but I want it to really dull out the rainbow paper. I didn't want it to be too bright. So you'll see in a minute I also stamp it with StazOn on vellum, and then I layer the vellum over this die cut. And I'm not sure what brand of vellum I'm using here. It's just some I had in my stash. The first time I stamped it, when I pulled the stamp off, you can't really tell there, it smudged a little, so I'm re-stamping it and pulling it straight up this time, and it's a lot more clear of a image. And it takes it a little while to dry on the vellum, so I end up putting it aside and then cutting it out later. I made this layout over the course of 2 or 3 days, so you'll see me different shades of light and lighting in my room because it's been different days and different times of the day. So now I'm showing you that I have both of them. I'm putting them aside, and here is where I'm trying to decide what to do, and I'm thinking, well, I like the way that the die cut actually came out with the different colors on it. So I get a new piece of cardstock and I end up using the actual die cut to put on my layout. I accidentally dropped the die cut on one of my photos and it left a little smudge on Reagan's face. So I think I cut it out. I paused my camera and I went and printed out another photo. And you can see Reagan's little hands touching on the left-hand side. She was scrapbooking in my room on the floor and she just wanted to use that stamp. So thanks, Vanessa. Reagan enjoyed the camera stamp as well. And now I stapled the vellum on right in the center, the lens part of that camera. So I'm using one of the Dear Lizzie wood buttons to put in the middle. And I decided that I wanted to mount these photos on top of a little bit of vellum. You can't really tell in the picture, but I just think it adds kind of a light and airy feel. And I planned on doing some watercoloring, so I really like adding vellum when I do watercoloring. Here I was deciding if I wanted to use some of that rainbow paper on the back, but then I decided no, I'll make my own rainbow underneath the photos using some watercolors that I had from Michael's. So I have a little cup of water and a small watercolor brush. And all of these colors I ended up mixing with white, with the exception of the yellow, because I want it to kind of give it more of a milkier look and not such a bright neon look. So I'm doing a few different stripes based on the colors from that polka dot party paper, the rainbow paper. And you see I'm using the top of my thing as a palette to mix the white with it. And it's just really watering them down so they're not too bright. Going in order, I think I end up putting 5 different colors down. Now I'm just drying them, and they're just going to peek out from underneath my photos. And now I'm sort of just deciding the layout and plan of my page here. Trimming down the vellum a little bit because it was covering a little too much of the watercoloring in the background. Adding some adhesive. I think here is where I decide I can't get the stuff off, so I stop the camera for a second to make a new picture. And now I'm adding dimensional adhesive all to the back of this, and it took quite a little while, so I cut a lot of that out, and me peeling the backs off the dimensional adhesive. But I want it there to be a little bit of a shadow underneath the title, so that's why I put it on dimensionals. And it was taking me forever to peel these backs off, but I finally got it. And I like how the last word of that title, the word story, is yellow, and then the right below it, the watercoloring starts with the color yellow and goes, to darker colors. I just like the way that that looks. And I was listening to a book on CD there. I've been doing that a lot lately because I'm in my car for an hour in the morning. So I joined like an audible.com, and I'm listening to Gone Girl, which is really, really good. If you're a reader, definitely buy that book or listen to it if you're an audio book listener. But the movie of that's coming out in October, and Ben Affleck plays the main character, so I highly recommend it. I always like to read a book before I see the movie. Here is some stuff from the Love Notes Valentine's Day collection from Crate Paper. These are in Vanessa's store, and even though they're Valentine's, they themed, they can be put on any layout. They just say things like love and love mix on the little cassette tape, and so they're easy to use on any layout. And I thought the colors were very watercolory tones, so they looked really good with this layout. And this is some old school product that Vanessa has in her store, and I'm so glad that she carries it because I used to be obsessed with this. They're called fabrics, and they're a piece of probably 4x12 fabric that you can cut and then rip and tear, and it adds just a nice texture to your layouts. And here I crinkle a few different pieces of it. I go back to it, I haven't done it yet, to go underneath my camera. And here I'm using some tags from the Peer Collection sticker sheet. It's the accent sticker sheet. And she also carries those in her store to add some dimension. Sorry. Those little wood flowers are from Chic Tags, the Cloud 9 collection, and I knew I wanted to use some of those blooms on my layout. So I'm zooming in here to kind of show you a better view of how I'm putting those fabrics on. I'm kind of making little waves and crinkles in them, and then I'm using my glossy accents to just kind of flatten those dimensional layers so that they weren't popping up so much. So I'm cutting off different strips, and they're really easy to apply. That you just rip off the backing, and it's almost like sticky back canvas. And she has quite a few different ones in her store. This one's from the Heyday collection, but she has a ton of them in her store. And Vanessa always gets new stuff in. I always look at her site, and every time I look, there's some new products added, which I really like. I believe I add 4 total layers of this just to kind of ground the camera. And you'll see later on on my channel. I also use this camera to do a card, and I really love the way that the card turned out. So I'll share that with you later on in the month of July. I added some of those enamel hearts on the left-hand side, and they're from a brand called Chickenity, and I've never heard of that brand before, but they have really awesome enamel dots. I got kind of the green, blue, and yellow pack, but there's also like a pink, orange, and reddish pack. They were very fun to use. And the green matched perfectly with the watercolor green. So now I'm going to adhere my little embellishment that I made right over it. And I'm putting it on dimensional adhesive because it just fit better on top of all of that crinkled fabric. So now I'm thinking I want something on the top of the bottom photo, and I'm using some more of those, the Pier, they almost look like file labels, and I don't end up stamping anything on them. I decided to just keep it really simple, and I love this geo tag from the Love Notes collection with the heart in it. I definitely wanted to add that on my layout. Here's where I decide to put a strip of the rainbow paper on the top and bottom of my layout. I think it just brings the colors in that I use for the watercoloring and really just grounds the whole layout together. And I knew the stamp set that is from Avery L had this hashtag selfie, and I definitely wanted to stamp that, so I put it up here. And I did one of my favorite things, which is to ink the stamp once, but stamp it 3 times in a row to get sort of a dark, lighter, and then lightest stamping. I just like the way that that looks. And on these, oh, and I wanted, since I did hashtag selfie up there, I wanted to add one of these cameras, and they're the ones from Studio Calico that you can spray. So I spray it with some mint. I forget what that spray is called. You can get it at Michael's. I think it was for SEI. And then I put an enamel dot in the middle, and I use some more of those Chickenity hearts, and I put a heart in the center of each of the flowers that I put on my layout. One thing you won't see on here, but you'll see in the final pictures, is that I completely forgot in my design team package that Vanessa gave me the Bow Bunny brads from the lemonade stand collection, because I'm going to make a summer mini, and so I put it in that pile instead of the pile for this layout. But then I realized it matched really well with this layout because one of the brads was rainbow. So I add 3 of them to the top right hand photo. So you'll see that at the end. And this was my first time making a layout since March. I've been doing mainly cards, and it's been a while since I've done a voiceover and edited a video. So thanks for being patient with me during doing it for this particular layout. But I definitely wanted to give it a try, and I thought this was a good way to show you guys some of the products that Vanessa has in her store. I added a little bit of clear glitter from my Wink of Stella pen to the heart on my vellum embellishment. And now I'm just adding a strip to the bottom. I thought the bottom needed a strip as well, and it's probably half the size of the strip at the top. And now I'm just splashing a little bit of Boss Lady, and I forget, Taxi Cab, I believe, Mr. Huey. And that's it, guys. You'll see some final photos here at the end, and you'll see where I added the brads as well. Thanks for being patient with me and staying, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Go to Vanessa's blog. I'll put all the links below this video and see some of the close-up photos of this layout. Talk to you soon. Bye.